In the recent Body Mania video, Denis Cyplenkov did only one practice pull, and even in that, he did not look great. The opponent was able to turn him palm up, but Denis was able to recover from that, and that seems to be the usual theme in Cyplenkov's practice pulls. He is always kind of struggling, but almost all of the times the opponents do not have any answer to his superior back pressure, which then results into a superior pronation as well. The good thing watching Denis Cyplenkov is that he is not looking in a bad shape. For someone who seems to have no plan of competing anytime soon, he looks in a good enough shape. It shows that he's been training, he's been working out at least once a week. But the bad thing is that he doesn't really practice pull at all. Even in that video, he pulled only once. And it doesn't matter if Sergey Tokarev is there, if Voevoda is there, and even if Vitaly is there. Denis is just not getting on the table, and this is a clear sign that he has no plans of competing anytime soon. In one of the other videos, in an interview, Denis was asked about his most difficult opponent ever. And naturally, he answered the question by saying Andrei Pushkar. Although it seems difficult to believe because Denis was basically almost undefeated against Pushkar. On the right arm, I don't think he ever lost. On the left arm, he lost like 4 rounds to Pushkar. But still, and other than Pushkar, only Dave Chaffee and Richard Lupkis were able to give him a difficult fight. But he very rarely competed against Richard and only a few times against Dave Chaffee. So it's kind of difficult to name them as the most difficult opponents ever. Denis also mentioned that right now he has a good baseline shape. So he's not completely off his peak shape. Well, obviously his recent peak shape, which I believe was in the Devon match, or maybe even when he practice pulled against Kordecha, that Cyplenkov was looking in a serious form. So the base is not far off, but if we compare to the prime, Denis is having difficulties trying to attain peak shape. That's where he kind of don't want to compromise his health, and that's why he's kind of struggling to put on weight and get stronger. 130 kilos seems to be a good competition weight for Denis as of now, but it's getting difficult for him to get to that weight. Devon has now hit 1 million followers on Instagram after having already achieved the milestone of getting 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I think he's the only arm wrestler in the world who has over 1 million followers on both Instagram and YouTube, obviously not counting Larry Wheels as an arm wrestler here. Not Akimbo, not Schoolboy, only Devon Larratt. Devon also uploaded this photo of his recent kind of physique update where he's weighing only 238 pounds. You can see the side-by-side comparison of him weighing over 260 in a very similar photo. My strength is growing. So that's kind of insane if he's at least as much stronger as he was when he weighed 260 pounds. Then nobody practically has any chance against him in the 115 and maybe even in the 105 kg division because he's already there, just a small waterweight cut away from that weight category. We know that Irakli Zirakashvili and Georgi Tautiev are going to be against each other on the table very soon. But we got to see a good comparison between these two very recently. So Schoolboy practiced against Georgi, and then he also practiced against Irakli Zirakashvili before that. Against Irakli, the pulls looked good, especially on the left arm where Schoolboy was even slightly dominant in the beginning phase, I would say. But since it's not a left arm match, we're going to talk about the right arm only. In one pull, Irakli was in some trouble where he just thought that it's just a Schoolboy, he's not that strong, I'm just going to go sideways with my pronation and get the job done. But instead of cracking Schoolboy's wrist, he cracked his own wrist and soon realized that he needs to stick to his traditional plan that he uses against the top guys, which is high posting style back pressure top roll and then going sideways, which worked like a charm against a Schoolboy, and after that the bigger and younger arm wrestler had practically no answer to Irakli's power. Against Georgi Tautiev, Schoolboy looked much more balanced even on the right arm. Yes, it looked like that Georgi Georgi was able to cause some trouble to Schoolboy, but that was almost on the defensive side, not on the offensive side. And Schoolboy was making some mistakes of attacking early. I know it's just practice pull, they were having fun, but if you want to pin Georgi, it looks like you have to kind of play the defensive along with him. He is also going to play the defensive and you also have to do that. If you apply too much side pressure, his insane up pressure is going to crack your wrist, just like he used to do against Kazimurad-Zoloev in VAF. So considering these practice pulls, the statement that Tautiev made against Irakli, that Irakli is only good against hook arm wrestlers and he's a top roller, he's going to crack the wrist, it doesn't seem like coming true anytime soon, but we don't know. The styles are different. Maybe Georgi can actually crack that wrist. Alexei Voevoda and Sergei Tokarev also practice pulled only a few times after the recent ARM Olymp tournament, and as expected, Voevoda was way too much. Well, I wouldn't expect Voevoda to be way too much against Tokarev in a fresh practice pull. But before that, we had some history. Some of us saw the matches. It was a really close match between Tokarev and Aibazov. So Tokarev was losing initially, then he ended up winning, and it was kind of an endurance battle. So he was already tired and getting beat by Voevoda was kind of making total sense. But in a fresh match or even a fresh practice pull, I think the story can be a little different than that. So Vitaly Laletin has set a new personal best in the GM150 grip training tool. Devon was constantly repeating that Vitaly has hit the world record on the grip strength. Well, that's not true. Maybe Devon is just trying to hype him up a little bit more, because Vitaly doesn't need any hyping up. He's already very close to the world record level, but he does not have the world record, not on the left arm. But right now he's got his second spot with this insane around 168 kilos of grip strength, which is amazing. Brian Shaw couldn't do that, Khalid Jashel couldn't do that, and Devon Lett obviously couldn't do that. So none of the arm wrestlers are that strong. Only Tobias Sporong is someone who can cross 150 kilos on this exercise. Other than that, there is no competition with Vitaly Laletin. Asian Arm Wrestling Federation is going to organize the 8th Asian Arm Wrestling Cup and the 7th Asian Para Arm Wrestling Cup in India in Mumbai from 19th of October to 27th of October. Just to be clear, this is not the same as Asian Arm Wrestling Championships organized by VAF. It's under the same umbrella but a different competition. And speaking of Asian Arm Wrestling Championship, that will also be organized in India but the next year. So I've already shown you the photos on the screen, and I'll link the post from Asian Arm Wrestling Federation in the link in the description. Thanks for watching, like the video and subscribe.